this cover off. You're going to be messing with the airbag here because you got to remove this airbag that's in here. So you want to make sure you disconnect the power to the battery first. This cover should pop out. Stick something under it and carefully pry it up. There's one. You want to be very careful because this plastic can break. I'm gonna move along here and find the next clip. It's right here. Go get into the center of that clip and start prying it up. See? It's like that. Get that one out. We're gonna keep moving down. Look for the next clip. It's right there. Got it out. And there's clips. There's clips in the back. If we can see it, there's one right there. I'm gonna try to get those out next. Now I think there's only one or two more. Might be able to get it with your hand now. Now there should be one more, I believe, in this corner. There we go. Now this thing's out. This whole piece comes out now. See, whole piece comes out now. Set it somewhere. Remove these 3 screws. They are 7mm. Be careful you don't whack the windshield like I just did. After you remove those 3 screws, come over here. There's another screw. This one's an 8mm. Take that out. Actually, that part up here is a bolt, not a screw. Now you can remove the airbag. Before you take it out, you're going to want to unplug the wire here. Push this little tab down. Remember, this has been on here since the 90s, so it might be hard to get off, but I got it out. Pull the whole thing out. Now that's out of the way. Set it somewhere for now. Next we have 2 screws, one here, and there's one back there. Those are also 7mm. Remove these 2 screws up here. Watch the windshield. You need your 7mm socket to remove these screws to get this handle off, and this whole trim piece has to come off because of course it interferes right here. When you try to pull the dashboard out, the plastic back there on the dashboard is gonna hit against this and you won't be able to pop it out. There's also 2 more 7mm bolts up here. They're bolts, not screws. Once you get those out, you can pull the handle out, but be careful because the 2 bolts in there, I wasn't able to get them, so they're gonna fall somewhere. Oh, there's one of them right there. I'm able to get it, I think. Okay, it fell down on the road. I'll have to get that. And then carefully pull out the other one. Try to get that bolt. Okay, I got that bolt. There we go. Then I have to grab the weather stripping and pull it off. You can put it back on later. Then this piece just comes right out. So it's clip lock things, whatever they're called. Oh, see that back there? There's one catching back there. See if I can. There we go. Now, when you pull the dash, you can get it out. It's not going to catch there anymore. Up here, you have two little covers. Pop them off. And you got some more. They're probably bolts that have to come out. They are also 7mm. Take those out. Just double check. It looks like I got everything out because see, I can almost pull out the whole dashboard. It's just catching over there now on that side. Now I'm gonna pop this piece out. Carefully work it out. Now this piece here, this is a piece of wood. This is custom because when I got the truck, the previous owner said that the plastic, he just touched it one day and it fell apart. So it was all missing. So I put all this in here to make it look a little better. But I think I can leave all that attached because that's screwed into the dashboard. That's not screwed into anything else. So it's going to be different on your truck because you'll probably have the full dashboard. I don't. I'm going to pull this lever here to drop the steering wheel down. Or I have to, when you want to get this piece out of here, you have to move the steering wheel up and down to get it out. Try to show you that. So you have to move the steering wheel and the shifter to get this piece of plastic out of here. Couldn't show you, but over here, I'm able to put my fingers through here, and then you have to pull up on this because this piece of plastic locks into this piece of plastic that runs over the gauge cluster. Now I can work this thing out. There we go. And what I did was I put the steering wheel up, and then now I can try to work this plastic out of here. It's a pain in the ass, but I don't want to break it. There we go. So let me show you that again. What I do is I pull that side, the right side of it out, and then twist it like this to get it to come out around the steering wheel. This piece here, with the vent and where the light switches are, it's not screwed in. I left it that way. This piece is separate from the dashboard anyway. Down here you got this little cubby I never used. This piece, pull this off because that's probably going to be in their way. Oh, look at that. Okay. This piece here is actually separate. I can probably pop this out of here and get out of the way. Never done this before, so I'm learning as I go. Pull the fuse door off. There's the screw right there holding it in. Let me just double check for you. Yeah, it's a 7mm just like the others, so take that screw out and then we'll move on from there. There's also another screw right here that I didn't have in. I don't remember if I took it out or if it was out before when I got the truck. Then you're gonna pull the strip out here again. And you be careful with this. If you're gonna be driving your truck in between repairing this, you're gonna have to leave this piece on because it has your emergency brake release here and your hood lever. So this piece you're gonna have to keep in if you're gonna drive the truck. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just getting this ready little by little. Get the dashboard apart, and then I'll put a few bolts to hold it together so I can still drive it until I have the time to actually replace the coils. I'm planning on replacing the evaporator and the heater core because the heater core never worked when I got the truck. They bypassed it, so I'm guessing it had a leak in it. Since I'm taking it apart, might as well replace it. So the problem here is you got the cable in the way. I think we might be able to just let this hang here. And now we have to figure out why the dashboard isn't coming out. What you do to figure out something like this, you pull on it, and you can tell where the area is that it's not coming out at. It looks like somewhere in the center area, there's a screw somewhere holding it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to remove this. This is just screwed in with Phillips screws. Your truck's not going to have this. So I'm not going to bother showing that because this is unique to this truck. I see notches here for clip lock, so I'm guessing the piece of plastic that's supposed to go over here is kind of like the oval shaped one over there that I took out, and so you have to pop that out. See, you got some more screws here. This screw here I don't think needs to come out. I think that can stay. I don't think that's holding it in. I think these two right here are holding the dashboard in. You got a screw there, screw over here, and you have to pull this piece out. Careful, because this piece breaks easily. I replaced this piece. It was like 80 bucks because the other one was all falling apart. Then you got 4 screws here on the cluster. There's one down there directly below it. Same thing on this side. And then you have to pull the cluster out of the way. See, behind the cluster, there's a screw there. And then there's a screw right there below that other screw. Where the other screw goes, where that screw goes, there's another one below it. Those two have to come out. 7 millimeters. Take the stereo out and see back there is another screw that has to come out. Over here behind where the headlight switch is, remove that screw. On the driver's side, pull this strip out. Now you're going to pull the weather strip out, and you're going to pull this piece off. Right here we have a nut. Need to remove that nut. The nut is 10 millimeter. Take it out. Under the steering wheel, when you take this piece out, there's a few screws under here, one there, and below it here is another screw. Not going to be able to show you removing all these screws, and the screws on top of this were very difficult to get to. I could barely get to them. And then finally though, when you take them all out, you can pull this cover out. See all the holes? Where the lines are for the heater core. The lines for the heater core run through on this plastic. See, it's notched for them right there. And there was a couple screws right there. They were very difficult to get to. So there's the heater core. And there's the evaporator right here on the right. In order to get this out, I use this dowel I have for another project. It just went like this. And then eventually that blend door popped out. Take that out of there, because it's in the way, of course. The heater core actually looks pretty good. But it was bypassed when I got the truck, like I said, so it must have a leak in it somewhere. Previous owner already disconnected my heater core. I found these connected to the lines under the hood. You have to take these off. You have to get new ones. Stupid, it's plastic. And also disconnect the hose that's on it. Now the heater core should pop right out now. With a little effort. Got to get this. There's this foam stuff insulation that's on the tubes. You have to get that off. There we go. Just carefully work it out around the evaporator. That way we can see get better access. Look at this. Got a little surprise on my clothes when I still some nasty old water in there. Do see some corrosion on it. Now the evaporator is going to be the same thing. You're going to have to first go under the hood. You have to take it somewhere if it still has a charge in it to get it discharged. I know that there's places that'll do that for you. They'd probably charge you, but it's not legal to just let the stuff out into the atmosphere. But most cases, it's when you're doing this, it's going to be because there's nothing in there at all. It's going to have leaked out. So then in that case, you can just start disconnecting everything because the system's not charged anyway, so it doesn't matter. You could see here, if I had my UV light, you could see this thing has a lot of leaks in it. See up here? Because I put the dye in here a while ago. I can see it just from the sunlight hitting it. This thing's a hot mess. Come under the hood. You have these retaining clips that help to hold the lines together. Then there's this stupid, they call it quick release, but it's not. It takes forever to get it out. And you have to use this little plastic ring tool to get it out. Couldn't show you getting it out, but there's the piece. You just pull it and it comes off. I couldn't get this spring lock thing to work when I replaced this dryer last year. So this line should pull right out. See? It pulled right out. It's not going to be that easy for you. And then the bottom. Now we got to get the bottom line, which I have never taken off before. I'm assuming that's going to be that's probably going to have that little locking spring. It's going to be a pain to get off. First, you're going to push the seats coming off. I'm going to have to block your view and catch it with my hand, because if it goes flying somewhere, I won't be able to find it, possibly. I got both of those clips out. I'm just pulling on it lightly to see if it'll pop out. Nope. It has that thing. Here's what the tool looks like. Just a stupid piece of plastic. I don't know if this is the right size. And then I'm not going to be able to show you it, but then you compress it with your hand and you try to force it inside of there, and it's supposed to expand the spring that's in there and pop the line out. I wasn't able to get out the dashboard all the way. Other videos, they were able to pull it out. It's hitting on something on the steering wheel. Maybe there's more stuff I need to take out of the way. Not sure, but I'm not doing that because I just set this up here. Have this piece of plywood here. Just hold, and it lifts this up so that I can get in here to where the coils are. And that's all I need. I don't need to take anything else apart on the dashboard. I had to go under the hood and push the pipe down a little bit because it was catching on the firewall. Now I've finally got it through. Now the only problem is I wish this bottom would drop. It looks like it does come apart, but I can't find the screws to release this bottom some to give me more working room. So I have to try to force it out this way. And hopefully the new one's gonna fit in properly. I pulled on it some more and it finally popped out. Now I can work it out. Whoa, what is that? That is crazy. Look at that. What causes that? Isn't that crazy? You can't see that because the new evaporator, they're getting so cheap that, see this foam that Ford, I'm pretty sure this is OEM. See this stuff for Ford put on here, this foam? The new evaporator has no foam on it at all. It's like, really? It's there for a reason. So I'm gonna have to try to take this old foam off and reuse it on the new evaporator. Wow, I can't believe how nasty that is. Since you got this open, clean it out and pour some water in to make sure the drain's clear. See the water coming out? Now you know the drain's clear. I've been having trouble with these evaporators because this larger line here is not bent correctly. So the first one I put in, this larger line here, even though it has 3 O-rings, it was leaking. This is a third evaporator that I'm trying now. The second one that I had, the tube the larger tube was angled wrong, so I couldn't even get it to go through the firewall, so I returned it and got another one. Hopefully this one is gonna work. Now, this thing's pressurized, so you have to unscrew these bolts. See? I can hear it already. Or you could just do that and let it out slowly. I didn't know at first that it was pressurized, because usually parts like this, they vacuum them, they don't pressurize them, but this is pressurized. But the coil's not large, so it's not going to hold a lot of pressure. Now it's depressurized. You just have to bend this to get, and then you slide it down to get it off. And I'm going to remove the other one. I'm going to try to keep these rubber caps in there when I push it through the firewall. Hopefully it's going to go through the firewall, so that way you don't have to worry about any debris getting in there, because you don't want anything in there except the refrigerant. First, when you put the coil in, you're going to have the tubes on your left. Put them in behind that plastic piece there. This piece. And you're going to start turning it as you get it in the box. Like that. And you're going to maneuver it to get the tubes to the holes on the left. Now it's about where it needs to go. The thinner tube, you can bend it a little bit, but be very careful and bend it very slow. Small increments. Because you will have to bend that a little bit to get it to go through the firewall. But the larger tube you can't bend. And I wouldn't try bending that, because it's easier to snap because it's shorter. Remember, you're just trying to get it in, you're not trying to cause leaks. I'm not going to be able to get the tubes to go in and hold this camera. When you get the coil in, next you have to get a small flathead screwdriver and carefully remove these old O-rings. The coil I have came with the new ones, so yours should too. It's going to be hard to get it on because it's tight. And it's of course it's going to go into the first groove, which is fine. Just get the other one. Get it on there. Here we go. Got the two new seals in. Same thing on the dryer line. Pull that out. This one's fun because it has 3 seals. I don't know why it has 3 seals. The other one has 2. Kind of weird, but that's how they made it. So same thing. Take off each of the 3 seals and then put the 3 new seals on that the kit came with. For some reason the kit came with 3 O-rings for the bottom one, but the bottom one only has 2. The same thing, take these out. And this goes for if you have the same problem I did with the coils not fitting in here right and then not sealing. When you redo it, you have to replace these seals each time. So pull that off. And it's the same process as what I just showed you, so I'm not going to bore you with that. come over to the dryer, loosen up this 8mm screw because you want to be able to maneuver the dryer, because that line has to go in as straight as possible or it will leak. It can't be angled at all. You might need to have somebody help you and have them push on the coil from the inside of the truck as you push these lines to in. Now, I'm not liking how this top one is, as you can see where it is, it's a little off. The only good thing is that this tube, part of this tube on the dryer is rubber, so it has a little flexibility to it. And also the coil inside, I can move it a little bit. So first I'm gonna take this cap off. Now you can do them in any order you want. You can do the small one first. And the small ones are gonna be hard because the tube's thin, so it's gonna wanna move around. And you wanna keep it from doing that. This one you're gonna press inside of it like that. And you want to have that flexibility with the evaporator moving inside of the box and the dryer able to move. If you have that screw tightened, the dryer can't move. You have to do this first, and then once it's set and you verify you got vacuum and everything, and you charge it, then you can tighten that screw up on the dryer. It went in as far as it's gonna go. You feel that it's in because there's a lip on the tube from the evaporator. You can feel when the tube on the dryer passes it, so you know that it's on, and the spring should be locked. And sometimes you'll hear the spring click. Then you're gonna put your, whatever this is called, retaining clip, safety clip on. That's just there in case, because it is under a lot of pressure, because I had an issue, what was funny, kind of funny, that happened where when I first changed the dryer before on the old evaporator, before I realized it had a leak in it, I was inside on the computer, all of a sudden I hear this loud noise, boom! It's like, what was that? It was so loud. As I had this system partially charged with just one can of refrigerant, and what happened was I didn't have the retaining clip on because the spring should have been holding it, but the spring didn't hold it, and this line popped right off. Now same thing, pop off that cap. Now I'm going to try to get, I don't know if you can see it a little bit on the camera. What I'm not liking is it's not lining up. So I'm going to try to bend the tube a little bit. The little tube you can bend. But you want to be very careful, because if you bend it too much, you'll cause leaks. This line, there's no way to unsecure it. This line is very short, it just runs to the condenser. I'm gonna go under there and push I need to push that line out a little more. You're gonna have to have somebody hold that line because it's very flimsy. It will bend as you're trying to push this line in. Now before I get the seals, I want to try to straighten it out some more. You got to get these two to go together as straight as possible. Otherwise you might have leaks. And you're going to start pushing it in. Do it slow. This one will probably click, because it clicked the last time when I got it in. There you go. I don't know if you heard the click, but I did. Now I know for sure that one's in. The top one has always had trouble, so I don't even know if it's locked. But that's what I used the retaining clip for. Then you just put that other retaining clip on the bottom one. And for some reason my top one was missing. It was very hard to find it, but I found one on eBay. Now that those are in, we can vacuum the system now. The red high pressure goes right there, and then back there on the dryer is where you put the blue one, low pressure, and up here in the gauges, blue goes to blue, red goes to red, and the yellow goes in the middle, and the yellow goes to the pump. And you'll also use the yellow to put the refrigerant in. If you don't have a pump, I'm pretty sure you could take it to a shop, any shop, and they would vacuum it for you. Since they're going to charge you anyway, probably, I would just tell them that you replaced your evaporator and you need to have it charged. And then they'll vacuum it and check it for leaks and all that and charge it for you. But I'm going to do it myself. So what you got to do is these knobs up here, make sure they're open all the way. And then over here on the Schrader valves, you're going to turn it clockwise so this opens the Schrader valves, and you want to do it on both of them. This one down here too. It's like that. And make sure you take this cap off because it'll blow. Make sure you take this cap off because it'll blow off if you don't. Then you're gonna turn the pump on and let it run for about an hour. And also make sure you got plenty of oil in the pump. And if you get your own oil, it's gonna be, when I got it, it was $20 for 1 quart. It's probably gone up since then because of inflation. After an hour, you're going to turn the pump off. Then you're going to close these knobs. Get them tight. And you're going to wait about 20 minutes. And you're going to make sure that the needles on both gauges do not move anywhere between -30 and 0. If they do, you have a leak and you have to fix that. Spin 20 minutes and see, nothing's happened with the gauges. What I'm going to do now is disconnect the yellow line. Make sure that the two knobs up here in the closed position, or you will lose your vacuum when you take the yellow line off. You have this piece of the Schrader valve. That's why that piece of metal's there. It opens it, it presses it to open it. Put that on here. Get it tight. Then you have this piece, you're going to screw it onto your can. Now this thing here can easily damage the valve in the can, so you want to open it very slowly. So you turn it, and as soon as you hear the refrigerant come out, that's it. Don't tighten it anymore. Okay, it's starting to hit it. Went out. Now what you're gonna do is come to the gauges. You're gonna open this up because you want to try to get out as much air as you can out of there, because there's air in the hose. That should be enough. Get it tight. Now what you're going to do now is open these two up, and you'll see that the pressure gauges will start to go up. Now I'm charging the system. You're going to put the whole can in. I'm not going to use the red line, so I closed that off. So that Schrader valve's closed. I'm just going to fill it up from the low pressure side. Put the whole can in. A trick you can do to get more out of the can is to put it in a container of hot water. See? When the pressure's too low in the can and it won't go inside the system anymore, what you can do is put it in a container of hot water, and that causes the gas in the can to heat up and expand, increasing the pressure in the can, allowing it to flow in to the system. Then you're going to maneuver it to get the two tubes to go through the holes. Loosen this hose clamp. This hose won't come off. You can get some pliers and grab it and move it back and forth to free it up. Take this hose and plug it into the right tube on the heater core. You're going to need somebody to push the core in, so you can do that. Tube on the right of the heater core, you're going to hook that one to this tube right here that comes up out of the top of the engine. And then the left tube, you're going to connect to this hose here, which runs down there, further down, below the other one. See it down there? I'm going to plug this one into the heater core. It was not easy to force the hoses on, but I got them on. Now I'm going to turn the truck on and make sure that the core gets hot and that it has no leaks. I'm going to turn the truck on now and check the temperatures of the evaporator and the heater core. The temperature on this thing is in Fahrenheit. I heard supposedly Fords can only get 60 degrees air. Well, look at that. Here's the heater core.